In this tutorial, we will learn how to set up the MLAgents environment in Unity, as well as how to create this simple AI that learns how to find the blue sphere. All right, so in Unity, I have my editor version as 2022.3.7 F1 life term support or something like that, or long-term support. That's it, not life. We're going to have it says 3D. You could have a different version if you want. I recommend, if you're able to, go with this version. I didn't have any real issues with newer ones. I've had issues with memory leaks that were showing up. This one works well, so I'd recommend just going with this one. We're going to go 3D. You can go 2D if you want. It's going to be a little bit different than what we're doing, but you can go 3D and that'll work. Set the location that you want it to go to. Project name, we're going to call this Pellet Grabber. Oops, it's spelled grabber, right? We don't need anything from down here. We're going to create project, and we're going to let it create the project. Once Unity is loaded, you should have an empty scene like this. Your setup, if you just installed Unity, or if you just have it set up differently, it's going to look different. You don't need it to look like this. You probably have your scene and game up here. This project console probably extends along the bottom. Hierarchy, I think, might be on the left by default. I'm not sure. You can always change your layout up here. You can adjust it yourself, save, all of that. But that's not important right now. What we're going to do is we're going to go to Windows and Project Manager. If it'll go on Unity, let me do stuff. There, it decided to be really slow. We're going to do Unity registry, and we're going to search for, let's just do MLAgents. You need a space there. Current version is 2.0.1. Might be different depending on when you're watching this. I don't really know what'll be different at that time, or if it's an older version, necessarily what will be different. You can, if you have any questions, feel free to ask, and I'll try to figure things out to let you know. But we're going to install. And just sit and wait until it installs. All right, once it's installed, we're going to be done with Unity for now. What we're going to do is we're going to go over to our browser of choice. I just use Edge because it's here and didn't really feel a need to change it. We're going to go to Python's website. That you might have things that pop up at the top with ads and stuff. That happens a lot in browsers. Ignore those. Look for one that says web, Python, and it's going to be python.org. You're going to go in here. You're going to go to downloads. I'm on Windows, so I'm going to select Windows. If you're Mac, you can probably, actually, I'm not even sure if Unity, I'm sure Unity actually can run on Macs. But, pick your version. I'm going to be doing Windows because I'm on Windows. And the version we're going to be looking for is 3.9.13. You can use other Python versions. I'm not exactly sure which versions they, work with the current MLAgents. I believe it's around like 3.8 to 3.10, nothing above 3.10. I recommend just, if you're still on, 2.0.1, just go with 3.9.13. It works. I haven't had any issues. Scroll down to the bottom, and there's Windows installers. I don't recall if I uninstalled it or not before this. So let me see. You can see I was testing. Okay, yeah, I had it already installed. So I just went and I grabbed 3.10 real quick. I paused, grabbed it, came back. Make sure when you're installing, select this to add to path. You don't want to not have that because then you're going to have to do it yourself by hand. Very annoying when everything's not working. You have to figure that out. So if it gives you the option, make sure you're doing that. If it doesn't give you the option, you're probably using a very old version of Python. And then you're just going to install. It'll install idle, pip, and documentation. And I'll see you right after that. So now everything should be installed. If you go back to Unity Hub, come over here, hit Show in Explorer, bring this over. You should be in your area now. Go up here, type CMD to open command prompt, and you'll be in your area. And this is where we're going to start using a little bit of Python to set up the environment that we will be running our agents through. Once here in command prompt, what we're going to do is we're just going to run oops, I have extra letters. We're going to run Python, and you should see this come up with the 3 little dots, and it'll tell you the version and all of that, and when you're actually, that's probably when the version released. And if that doesn't come up, if it says error, Python's not a recognized command, you can try hi, see if that works. If it doesn't, then it sounds like you it sounds like you don't have it on the path. And so, go back to the installer, select uninstall, and then reinstall it, make sure path is selected. If that doesn't work, then you're going to have to look to see if it's in the path environment. That's going to vary based on the computer that you have. So Windows, or I guess the OS really, Windows 10, 11, I assume Mac has their own version of that you can probably access. So you just have to look into that. But we have Python working, so let's exit. And first thing we're going to do before we do anything else, you can see if we do ls here, we just see our folder. We're going to actually go into our folder, so cd pellet grabber. ls, we'll see there's all of these. We got the assets, library, logs. That's all the stuff that would be in Unity. Then we're going to go and we're going to create a virtual environment. So we will do python -m and then venv for virtual environment. And then here you're going to make the name of the virtual environment. A lot of people you'll see will just name it venv again for virtual environment. I like to just change it and name it kind of like what I'm doing, or name it associated with what I'm doing. So machine learning and then virtual environment. That I would just call it MLVNV. You can name it whatever you want. Just keep in mind what it's called. So we create it. It'll take a little bit to do that, and I'll be back once it's finished on mine. Okay, it finished. I actually think it finished as I was hitting the stop button. But it finished. As you can see, I did ls again, and now there's an MLVNV here, which wasn't there before. And so now we want to activate that virtual environment because we're going to be working in that. If you don't have a virtual environment, and this is where I wish that I knew about virtual environments when I started out with Python, is it makes Python so much nicer. It is a huge pain to work with Python if you're not using virtual environments. And the reason for that is when you install packages, like if you've used other languages like C++, probably even like C#, any of the C languages, I assume Java, when you include packages, they're usually part of the standard library. And then if they're not, you can download them and, import it through the folder. Python, it's global. You install like this first package that we're going to install here, which is actually going to be more of an upgrade. -m to python -m pip install upgrade, or no, oops, -- upgrade pip. So pip should already be installed on your computer. This is just going to make sure it's the most recent version. I already have that. It's the most recent, 23.2.1. Now, pip, you generally want it to be installed, but let's say that was a different package, such as this one we're going to call pip install MLAgents. Now, we're installing it in a virtual environment, which actually, oh, wait, oops, my bad, we didn't activate it yet. I was so on topic, I was ranting on Python that I forgot to activate. So before we install anything else, in fact, you might want to, pip should be fine. You can downgrade if you want, and then upgrade after. But we're going to do python -m. Oops, no, we already installed it. MLVNV, or whatever you decided to call your environment. I'm going off of this name. /scripts /activate. Run that. If it works, you shouldn't have a display output. Instead, you should just now right here, it should say the name of your environment. That means you're in the environment. So now we can do pip. We'll do pip 3. Pip 3 should be fine. If you have multiple versions of Python, like Python 2, Python 3, this will differentiate between the two. If you don't, you can just do normal pip. the pip install MLAgents or pip3 install. We'll install that. In my own personal, I guess, copy of this, I've already made this. We're making it again here for you guys to see. I have all this stuff installed. So normally it would say, hey, it's already installed, but instead it's installing here because it's separated. It's in a separate little virtual environment. So I'll pause while this installs. We can see here, because I wasn't in the virtual environment when we updated pip, that it's telling me that I am using an older version. So let's just go and upgrade. Selecting and uninstalling and installing, since uninstalling 22.0.4, and then it installed 23.2.1. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do pip3 install torch vision. These are all different packages. You could do them individually if you want. You could stop here at torch and do that one, and then torch vision. Doing them all together just because they group up together nicely. Audio. So torch vision, torch audio. With these three, it's your machine learning library, or I guess I shouldn't say machine learning library, but it's going to be running through all of the computations for it, doing all of the math, and working with tensors and CUDA cores of like your GPU and stuff. And we need that in order to interface and actually do any sort of training. So I'll pause again and be back once it installs, unless it's going to finish right here. No, okay. It's installed, and we have one more package that we want to install. And actually, it's already installed. We just need to update it because it's likely the wrong version right now. So we're going to do pip3 install protobuf, and we're going to tell it to equal version 3.20.3. That's the version we're going to want for our project. I don't remember exactly what protobuf does. I looked it up before this, and I want to say it's just for translating languages, I believe, which, I mean, makes sense. We're working with C# and Python. You're more than welcome to look it up. I might be misremembering it, or maybe it doesn't have anything to do with Python and C#, but maybe a lower level language. But that's everything that we need to do here in command prompt. And next we're going to be, actually before we even leave command prompt, because we will be working in Unity, but we're going to just check to make sure MLAgents and everything is installed correctly. I'm going to do MLAgents -- learn. Actually, no, I believe it's just one dash learn. Let me double check. Yeah. One, I have it written down as 2 -- learn, and then -h. And we should get a list of commands that we can use. No, did I type it wrong? No module named packaging. It looks like I reinstall that. Let me see if I'm missing any installs and be right back. Okay, back. I tried recreating the virtual environment. I tried reinstalling everything, uninstalling, the whole thing. Got it to work. And I just figured, I'll try it to see. Let me see, where was the I just did pip install packaging, which is what it was saying. It was no module named packaging. That should have been installed with what we were doing. If it does for you guys, great. If it doesn't, just pip install packaging and it'll work. And so now that that's done, we're going to go and we're going to create our starting environment. We're just going to do something very basic for this episode, because I was thinking of just doing it with just installing everything, but I'm thinking we'll throw down a quick little environment. So we're going to go, we can leave the main camera, we can leave that. In fact, where does main camera point out? So it doesn't really matter. We're going to build, let's move to 0, 0. Oops, highlight. There we go. I don't think that actually really does. Oh, I think that's just changing the camera position. Whatever. We're going to create a empty. We're going to call this our environment. And then under here, we will create a 3D object. We'll do a plane. This will be the ground. We'll just call it plane. We're going to change the scale, change it to, we don't really need it that big, do we? think we can just leave it at 1, and we'll change Y. Yeah, Y to that is thickness. Yeah, it's Z. That here we're gonna do this as 0.5. And do we want to raise this up at all? I don't think we really need to. Let's just move the camera. So that way it's in view. Rotate you down. There we go. I think that's good enough. Maybe move it closer. And then we're going to want to go and we're going to make some walls. So create 3D object cube. We're going to name you highlight. We're going to name you wall. And let's make a quick, just so that way we can see it better. Actually, oh yeah, this is our scene. I was thinking that was this was our camera perspective. Here, create, nope, not shown. Explorer, create folder. I'm gonna call you materials. Go into here. We're gonna create a material. We're gonna call it wall color. And let's go ahead and make these red. Throw that right there. And change the size to, I think 0.5 is good. And we'll mess with them. Mess with it here. Change. Whoa. We don't need it to be that big, Unity. Thank you, though, for trying and to help out. Do this. And we actually probably don't even need these side ones right now, but we're going to do them anyways. Oop. Control C, Control V. Move that over to right there. Try to line it up just a little bit with the side. Control C, Control V. Then we want to rotate you 90 degrees. And if you guys can go faster than me, you're more than welcome to. We're literally just putting on one on each side. In fact, we don't even need to size these properly if we don't want to, but you know, we'll size them a little bit better. I keep hitting Q. There we go. Not used to having to talk through doing this. I usually just sit there and think about it. Okay, that looks good. So now we can actually go ahead and create an empty, and we're just going to call this walls. Highlight all of these with a shift left click, move them under there. And what we're going to actually want to do is, you know, we'll do that later. We'll do it when it comes to it. So right now we have walls. We're just making the environment. We can make these, you know, change the color and stuff if we want to. What do we do? Opaque. There we go. Fade. Need to do in order to make them. No, that is not what I wanted to do. There, this is what it. Make them kind of, you know, translucent, transparent. Because they're just boundaries. We could make them invisible if we wanted to, which in the future we might. But for right now, we're going to have them like this. And then we're going to go to here. We're going to create a 3D object, a cube. We're going to name him QB. QB, we're going to make much smaller. This is a tiny area, so 0.5, 0.5, and 0.5. There we go. Let's make a material for QB, so QB doesn't blend in with the ground. And I always look over material. We're going to call it agent color. And actually, speaking of which, we should not be calling him QB. That can be his actual name, but we're going to name him agent in here, just for the sake of learning. Agent, we're going to make you purple. QB is going to be purple. And I'm going to, yeah, we can add some eyes. No, you know, I'll do that between. We'll add eyes to QB later. So let's move QB. Yeah, we'll keep QB in the middle. Doesn't really matter. We'll be placing them where we want to place them anyways later. Let me just see 0. Okay, 0 ends up there, so 0.3. And now we'll be creating scripts. So let's go back to here, create a new folder. We're going to call this scripts. And then in here, we're going to create a new script. And we're going to call this, what do we want to call it? Agent move. We're going to call them agent move. It's just going to be, or agent controller. We'll call it agent controller, because it'll just be all of the actions that the agent can take, or take in and do. And for right now, for simplicity, we're just going to put everything, the entire, controlling the environment and everything in the script, and then later we'll clean it up and have everything separated. And so now we can go and we can open this up. So in our script here, we're going to add some modules here. For you guys, it'll probably autofill a lot of these in while you're writing code. I have that all disabled because I don't like it just, suggesting things while I'm trying to type, and then it's a me thing. So we're going to do using Unity MLAgents. This one you'll probably need to write yourself. The following two should get filled in on their own, but using Unity MLAgents again, but this one's going to be .actuators. And we're just going to copy and paste this. And it's going to be .sensors. Because we're going to need to be able to see, and we're going to be able to need to move, and then we just need access to the whole thing. We're going to change this from mono behavior to agent. Sorry. We're going to get rid of start and update, because unlike creating a game, we don't need those, at least not with our use case. And so now we're going to go back actually to Unity. Let's go back over here. Let it load. We'll go to our agent, and we're going to throw the agent controller onto there. And now you can see it adds behavior parameters and our script here. This one, we're going to change the name. We'll call it, we're just going to call it agent control, because actually, no, we're not. Yeah, we'll call it agent control. It doesn't really matter too much as long as you know what it is. I'm just kind of basing it off of the name here. In fact, we'll just so that way it matches the script, we'll do that. The vector observations, the space size, we're just going to do 1, because we're literally just one kind of movement. It's going to be horizontal. We're just going to be moving back and forth. So it can be negative values and positive values, going both ways. Continuous actions, 1, we're again going left and right. We're not going to be using it discrete for right now. It's just going to be continuous. This model, we're going to leave as blank right now. That's going to be what we're going to be training. And so then we'll end up with a model to fill in here. If we look, there's nothing here now. Behavior type, we have default, heuristic, and inference. We will mainly be using default and heuristic. Heuristic is going to be us taking control of it. Oops, and I think that's really all we need to mess with right now in here. We can, however, we do that now. No, let's go over back to our script. I have a copy of the script written, as you can see. So we're going to start with creating a function. It's going to be OnActionReceived. It can probably autofill for you guys, or public override. And we're overriding it because all these functions already exist in the library or module, but we want to be changing them for our purposes specifically. They'll be OnActionReceived, and we're going to take one input. It's going to be action buffers, and we're just going to call it actions. And hopefully I didn't misspell anything, and it should go away. Yep. And then we're going to just be moving left and right. So we're going to have float. Let me see. Is this going to be the Y direction or the X direction? Right here. It's X. Okay. So go back to here. Float. We're just gonna, we'll just call it move. Move equals actions dot continue on, if I can spell while speaking, continuous actions. And we're just gonna, it's gonna be 0. It's an array. Essentially, you can think of it as an array, and we'll have the speed, the move speed. We're just gonna set it as 2F. It might be a little slow. We can always increase it in the future if we feel the need. And then in OnActionReceived, it's gonna be basically calling continuous actions. We will be telling it what those are in a little bit, but it's gonna take that. It's gonna take the movement speed, and it's gonna move. That's what it's going to be, the action that's taking its move. So we're going to do transform dot local position. I always misspell position. Position. And it's going to be a plus equal. We're just going to do it that way. New vector. If I can't spell today. Sorry, guys. Move. See, if it's X, it's going to be move and then 0F. And that should be good. Times time dot delta time. This it will be to keep it moving with the frame rate, so that way it, it's not variable, or not moving with the frame rate. Sorry, without it, it'll be moving with the frame rate. So if you have a faster computer, it'll run faster. If you have a slower one, it would run slower. This will keep it going with real time. At least real time according to your computer. Because if you change the internal clock speed, then it'll be different. Yeah, it's move speed. Now, why is it mad? Oh, because I just put new vector, not new vector 3. And this should be, I believe, the orientation. The one I have written down is for later. We'll be moving up and down as well. So we might just need to flip that around if it goes the wrong way, but we'll see what happens. And so then we want to, should be everything that we need in order to move. But now we want another function. This one will be in order to determine, basically to collect what the agent can see. Now we're not giving it eyes at this time, so it's going to be something a little different kind of scene. We're going to do another public override, void, CollectObservations. And so here, when we added OnActionReceived, that should have, if you didn't put these yourselves and you have the default settings for Virtual Studio, it would have auto put this here for you, and then adding this one would have auto put that there. But then we want a vector sensor, and then we'll just call it sensor. Add new little curly braces, and we're going to grab sensor dot add observation, and we're going to do transform dot local position. So this will be this will allow the agent to know where it is in essentially in space. Like, when you're in your room, oh, I'm this far from the door. Oh, I'm this far from my bed. I'm this far from the wall. Or at least you'll know where you are within the room. Like, if you put it on a coordinate system, you'd be, oh, these are my coordinates. It's essentially what we're doing here. We're telling it, hey, you get to know where you are. We're not going to make you guess that. You know. We're not changing that. And then we need to add another sensor, because we have an item that we're going to want it to go after. So let me actually just duplicate. There we go. But we're going to, instead of transform, which would be accessing, our agent, we're going to do target. Now, it doesn't know what target is, so we're going to come up here and we're going to tell it what target is. Target is going to be we're going to serialize it. So if you're not familiar with serialize, it basically just makes it so that way you can see private variables from inside of Unity. Did I spell serialize wrong? S-E-R-I-A-L-I-Z. No, it's probably just mad that I haven't given it anything else. Private transform. target. You still mad? You're still mad. Let me just try copying and... Why are you mad? This namespace of serialized cannot attribute. Serialized field can't be found. Are you missing? What do you suggest as a fix? Generate class generate. Change that to that. Oh, I am misspelling it. How are they changing it? Oh, it's not past tense. Okay. So yeah, serialized field. Sorry about that. Let's save this. Open up Unity once it's done loading. And then if we see right here, you can see this. So let's create the item that we're going to go after. So we're going to create a 3D object. We'll create a capsule. No, not a capsule, sorry, a sphere. We will reduce the size as well. So that way it's not giant compared to QB. And we'll move it right here. Let's set it to 0.3, same level as QB, which is fine. And let me see, what else do we want to do with it? Let's make a new color. So create material. I'm going to call it, oh, and I should change the name of the object as well. Pellet color. Let's make you blue. So pellet color. Drag that onto you. And before we go and do anything else, what we should do is on our agent, add a rigid body. Now, if you're doing this in 2D, which code will be slightly different than what we've been doing so far on a little bit of it, but for the most part, it should be about the same. You'd be adding rigid body 2D. We're going to add this one. We don't need to do anything here. We're going to want the box collider to be isTrigger. Forgot to do those earlier. And we can minimize all of this because we don't need to see it all. We can, we'll go and we'll drag let's change this to Pellet. And go back to our agent. We'll drag this onto here. So now it'll know that this is the target that we're after. And it'll know the location because we told it, where the location was. And let me see, so we can minimize this. Is there anything else we need to do right now, right here? I don't think so. I think we're good. So the next thing we're going to do, we created the target, create a variable. Let's create what we're going to do for when we're actually making contact with the target. So we're going to do we're going to do private. This one's not going to be an override. This one is just a standard Unity function. Private void OnTriggerEnter. And the collider, we're just going to call it other. So whatever it's colliding with, we can refer to it as other. So if it ran into the wall or if it ran into the pellet, it's an other. And then we're going to check if other.gameObject.tag, we're going to tag them. If it equals to, we're going to call it pellet. If it equals that, then we want to add a reward. And we're going to give it, we'll give it 10, a reward of 10. Now this add reward is part of the machine learning package, or MLAgents package, I should say. And essentially, the higher the reward, the better the computer knows it did really well. Lower, it knows like, oh, hey, I got higher before. I should probably, just do better. And so then once we add the reward, we only have one pellet there. So we're going to end episode. Why? Oh, because I have another S there. Okay. End episode. And this will it'll end it. And then you'll see how we'll restart it again. But it'll end there because we only have one pellet to go. There's no point in having the agent run around after that. And because then, probably just run into a wall and get punished and be like, oh, maybe I'm not doing the right thing. And then we'll grab this and we're going to do it again. But this time, if it's a wall, then we're going to add a negative reward. We'll do -5. And then we'll just end the episode there. save this. Let's go back to Unity once it's ready and create new tags. We don't need a tag on the agent currently. We're going to add a tag, list. We're going to name it Pellet, the same thing that we wrote, and then go back to the Pellet. And there we go. There's Pellet. Walls. We should open this up and we can select all of them at once. Add wall. Go back. Oops. Yeah, we got to go back anyways and reselect them all. And now we have wall. So now we'll know if we make contact with the wall or if we make contact with the pellet. And they all have a collider. So that's how we're going to know when we make contact with it. And then we'll go back over to the script. And we're going to go up to the top. And I like to have this one just more towards the top because it keeps everything organized. We're going to be doing the OnEpisodeBegin. So episode begins, we collect observations, we make movements, we collide, keeps everything in a nice order. But we want to actually keep that at the top. So we'll go back down here. And we're going to do a public override void OnEpisodeBegin. Oh, a lot of R's in there. So override begin. We're going to start with spawning our agent. We're not moving him around with spawn. He's just spawning in one spot right there in the middle, which I believe if we check should be 0, 0. Oops, it's the pellet plane agent. Yeah, like we've set this to 0 and 0. Yeah. He's at 0, 0, all right. So we're going to do a transform dot local position position. If I don't hit all the wrong keys, position equals, and we're not going to do a plus equal here because we're not changing it. We're just setting it to that position. The initial set, new vector 3, and we're going to do 0f. 0.3f, and 0f. Now the reason why it's at 0.3f is because when we do 0f, it ends up inside the plane. We could just lower the plane if we wanted to, but it's fine. Have them float. The rigid bodies will bring them down to the ground. The spheres are big enough that you'll run into them even though they're floating. And so then once we have this in, there's still one more thing we need to do with the episode beginning, and that's the placement of the pellet. Now, if we were to do separate files, obviously this would be in a separate area. In fact, spawning this guy would probably be in a separate file as well. Oops. But for right now, keep things simple, putting it all in one. Feel free to mess around with this afterwards and adjust things as you like or clean things up as you like. We'll do that eventually, but for right now, we're going to do it this way. So int rand for random, it's going to be random.range, and we're going to pick between 0 and 1. Oops, 0 and 1, which I know I'm putting 2 there, but it's non-inclusive, so it's not including 2. It's literally includes this number and the numbers before this one. And we're looking at ints, so it's going to just pick between 0 and 1. If rand equals 0, then we're going to do this. If rand equals 1, then we're going to do this because there's 2 options here. And we're not spawning all around within an area, so I think it's fine to just do it this way. There's probably far better ways to do it, but we're going to do this. So then target dot local position equals new vector 3. And we're going to pick between -4 and 4. And we're doing 4 and 4 because that's how far the barriers went. If we look here, and oops, if I select this one, we can see this is just about 4 on the X and just about -4. And I'm giving a bit of space towards the edge just because I don't feel like, trying to squeeze it in there. And so we'll do this. And if it is Actually, oops, no, I'm not telling it to go in between. There we go. At -4. And then if it's the other one, then it will be 0 and positive. Oops. I don't know why I want to do, this is the right side, this is the left side. It's all here, X. And we'll adjust things as we need to if, this is flipped. Then we'll put these in, and that should be it for OnEpisodeBegin. It will save, it'll get Unity loading and stuff. And we already added the rigid body. Did we add the decision requester? No, we did not. So we added rigid body. We need to add a decision requester now. If this might have already auto-populated for you. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, I've noticed. For me, generally, it doesn't. And so we're going to add that. And let's see. Oh, we didn't make the heuristics. Oops. We didn't, right? I think I skipped over that. OnEpisodeBegin, action. Yeah, we did not make the heuristics. So let's add that in. We're going to do that just over here by OnActionReceived. So this is another MLAgents function. The public override void heuristics, or heuristic, I should say. Then in action buffers, actions out. And then we go in. And this is just going to allow us to take over. And so basically when we input on our keyboard or with a controller, maybe with a mouse, whatever your user interface is, it'll be feeding here the OnActionReceived. And so it'll be moving this and calling this. And so then we want to do action segment float continuous actions. Continuous actions equals actions dot out dot I can't spell today. I think it's because I'm just talking while writing, and so I'm talking, writing, and reading all at the same time, and so I'm putting a bunch of things that don't need to be written. I promise I usually type better than this. We're going to take this, continuous actions, and then we're going to access the first variable for it because we only need one. It's going to be input.get access, and this can be however you want. If you want to do joystick, you can figure out how to take that input through Unity. But we're going to just use the keyboard, and it's going to be horizontal. And that should be it, because let's see, we got OnTriggerEnter, we got heuristics, or heuristic, I keep saying it plural. We got OnActionReceived, CollectObservations, OnEpisodeBegin. We've got our private transform target, agent, and the 3 variables here. I think we're good there. Let's set this to inference. No, not inference, sorry, heuristic. Let's save just for preparation. And let's run it and see. We should be able to move. Oh. No, does our plane, I think, let me double check what we need for here. My bad, you guys. It's not, I messed up right here. We had it as is trigger. We do not want that as trigger. We want these as is trigger. And then they won't be affected by, actually this one we don't, I guess need as is trigger because there's no collider to, actually you can't activate that for here. So let's save and now run it. And everything should be working smoothly. Once it loads, there we go. Oh, and see, it was over here, and before it was spawning over there. And we can do that. If I hit W and S, I can't do anything, but if I can move left and right, we can grab it, and we reset. Perfect. And And so this is us controlling it now. So let's stop. We'll go back to command prompt here. We'll scroll down to here. And now let me grab my document with the code. We're going to do MLAgents-learn. And we're going to keep it basic. We're not going to do any special configs ourselves, anything custom. We're going to do --run, run -id. And then we're going to set the name for it. I like to do an equal sign here just to kind of show that that's what it goes to. You don't have to. You can name it yourself, but we're going to do this Pellet grabber 1 or run 1. I like to do run 1 just to keep track of, you know, my order for everything. And we can just hit enter. Everything should be good. Oh, while it does that, actually, let me go back to agent. We want to set it to default. We don't want heuristic because that'll be us controlling it. Then is this gonna, it's not going yet. Why isn't it? There we go. It wasn't accepting my my enter. But now you should get this Unity here. And right now it's running on actually my CPU. So it's not going to be using my GPU here. We can go over that in another episode. This is already running much longer than I was planning on. We can run it off of CUDA cores as well. But it's listening here. So then I'll open this back up afterwards. Save and run. Open this back up. And we can see it's moving. It's really jittery right now because it's running at 20 times normal speed of like your game. And it's trying to figure out right now. Actually, we didn't test to see, is it hitting the wall and not losing? We didn't test that actually. Let's cancel with Control C. I forgot to check that. Please accept. Okay, and then let's go back into Heuristic. And we'll just test that right now. Forgot to test that. When we hit the pellet, it works. But do we have end episode working for here? Let's go. No, we do not. That was the issue. It was just bouncing off the wall. So let's go into here. Going down to OnTriggerEnter. If we hit wall, oh, we do have it. For if it hits the wall to stop. Walls, wall. Oh, I see. Oh wait, no. We have it for a wall tag. Oh, because it is trigger. There we go. Forgot about that. We only did the pellet. And so then now if we run, and we'll want to change it out of heuristic after the fact. In fact, let me show you right now what it actually, right after we test this. It still doesn't work. Hold on, let me. I don't really see why it's not working. Let me pause real quick to see. Or did I not change it for all of them? I might have not changed. I didn't change it for all. So we'll do that. There we go. So yeah, let's exit here. Let's change. This one is trigger. This one is trigger. Those other two don't really matter right now, but we have them. So then let's go into our agent. And we actually want this open. Also, I changed the space size to 6. When you run it, there will be a thing going, hey, we have more than 6. And that's because if you come in here, it actually counts for our observations taking a transform, which is 3 values here. And then another transform, which is another 3. And so it adds up to 6 for observations. If we had it, only going forward, then, it'd be different, but we're going forward and backwards, and we're tracking this option, this here. So save. And did we change, minimize this so I can keep track of agent. Okay, so this is what it looks like with the behavior default, which is using the neural network, which we have none. This is what it looks like. It's gonna be very, very uneventful. It just sits there. So we'll exit. We'll come here. And now we could do a -- resume, but we're just going to do a run too, because we don't want to have any of that bad data. So it's run, wait for it to go, Unity using CPU, and hit play. And now it should start running through. Yep, there we go. Oh, look, it got it. It got a reward. And let me actually open this back up so we can track. You can see this is the default stuff going on. So there's 50,000 steps, or 500,000, sorry, steps going through, and we'll see it increment. It's incrementing through by 50,000 for summary frequency. It'll probably take about like 4 or 5 minutes to run through. Once we see the first one, and we probably don't even need to have this many going. This is just the default for, simple. You should, oh look, there, it got bias because it was on the left side so many times. And it's like, oh wait, why it's starting to hesitate now. It's like, why am I getting a negative value here? Maybe I need to go more right. And so it's gonna learn, oh, if it's over here, I need to go that way. If it's over here, I need to go that way. There we go. See, it's starting to, come on, come this way. No, okay. It's gonna have, I think, some strong bias, but eventually it should figure it out. I'll cut my audio here so you guys can see, and you'll see the summaries pop up here while it trains. See here, I think it's starting to learn. It's really struggling. It doesn't want to hit that wall. And it's like, it's not here. It's not here. This is where it's going to start figuring out, oh, I need to start paying attention to the other side. I'm surprised we haven't gotten any summaries here. I'm wondering if it's because I'm recording at the same time. Okay, you can see here the step value. Increase mean reward, you want that to be high, you want this to be low. Oh, I just thought about, actually, why this is taking so long. Let me stop. This was the whole reason why we made everything local. I want to copy and paste. That way it'll train a bunch at once. At first I thought it was my recording being the issue, but no, this is probably the reason why. It's trying to do a lot of training off of one guy. We want to have duplicates. Think of it like if you guys watched Naruto, at the end when he was using his shadow clones to make multiple of himself. We're going to do this, and this should be far better. Let's do this. There we go. Save. And now we'll do just training again. And I will cut my audio and just let it run through. Okay, after a little bit of digging around to figure out what was going on with why it wasn't training, figured out it's because of the balance we have on the rewards. We have a very low reward There are very low negative reward for, hitting a wall, but a very high reward for that. It's imbalanced. It's like, oh, well, I can't do bad if I, don't move. And then it's not going towards the puck. So like, oh, I got it once. That's good. But, I don't know. It just doesn't like it. It doesn't see it as an incentive. So we're going to set a reward of 2 and a negative reward of 1 for hitting the wall. And I tested that, and it seemed like it was doing pretty good. Also, when the first time we ran, it was saying, hey, the Onyx, Onyx wasn't there. Just do pip install Onyx. It'll be this, just pip install Onyx, and it'll work. It's what creates the brain to say, and you can see 6 runs just to test it. So let's do this now. I'll have these all sped up as well, I suppose, so that way it's a bit faster for you guys to see. Open this, and you'll see also I made a lot more just to see as well. It speeds up the thing, but it also makes it then more intensive for your computer to do. You don't have especially if you don't have we're not really using the GPU right now, we're using the CPU, but if you don't have a good CPU, you're on a laptop or something like that, I'd recommend not. I guess this is pretty basic. There's not a ton going on, so it might be fine. But in the future, just keep in mind the amount that you're using. I think this is the most I've ever done. Granted, this is also far simpler than what I'm going to have us build up to. But you can see they're starting to work. We got 2 now, a mean of 2, which 2 is actually the max, so that's good. And they might have actually figured it out now. Yep. I think they figured it out, so we could probably stop now. It's super quick. We don't want to overtrain, but let's just see what the next summary is. Yeah, I think we're good. We can stop here, and then we can access for here. Nope, oops, not there. That was for writing down what we needed to do. Assets. I'm in my own tutorial A, pellet grabber. And you'll have this folder now called results. So you'll go in here, grab the run that you want. This Onyx, Control C. You could just drag it out if you want. I Control C just to keep, I have a backup. And it's right here. You can organize it if you want, but I'm just going to throw it in right there. We go to our assets. There's the agent controller. Let's make all these invisible because we don't need them all running. Go over to here. And before we actually do anything, just to show that it is actually doing something, this is none right now. None and default. So we're going to hit play. I know I've shown you guys this before, but I'm going to show it again, just that way you can see that we're not doing anything. I'm not doing it. I'm not touching the keyboard. I'll even touch it now. You might be able to even, oh wait. Why is that working? That shouldn't be working under default. I am not sure why that's working, but okay. You guys can probably hear my keyboard anyways. So now let's do agent controller, inference type. Yeah, I don't know why. Maybe, hold on, let's remove this. Let's just try inference only. There's no model for the brain. Cannot run. Okay, cannot run that or change. Maybe that's why. Oh, that's probably why. Let's do agent controller. Yeah, if I do heuristics, then I can take over. Default will probably make it where I can't do anything. We'll see. I'll try it. So it's run now. We got the agent controller neural network model, the brain. And it's going on its own, and I can't do anything. I'm tapping the keyboard for my movements. Doesn't work. And yeah, it's doing it itself, and it knows which way to go. Pretty cool, huh? All right, well, that'll be it for this tutorial. I hope you guys enjoyed. Next time, we'll just make this a little bit more complex. I think I already know the direction I want to go with it, but we'll see. With that, I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope to see you all in the next one. See ya.